Hi, my dear friends. Welcome back and thank you for your continued support, regardless of the odd difference of opinion. But we'll discuss that later. First, I want to chat to you about what is prevalent in the news today. I just want to mention that I was perfectly in sync with time differences in my own country. But now that I'm with my kids in Canada, I'm completely lost in time. So my today, tomorrow, and yesterday's may not be 100% in sync with where you are. And, I read the news, make notes, do the narration, edit, and then it may sometimes take time to load as well. So there's that. So just forgive me. I'll be back home in January if the new virus strains, etc., don't prevent me from flying, but that's another story for another day. Okay, so Prince Charles flew to Barbados as they prepare to remove Queen Elizabeth as its head of state and become a republic. Now, Charles arrived last night, or for clarity, Sunday night. Celebrations will start at 8 p.m. tonight, being Monday night, with Barbadian music and dance, and then Sandra Mason will be inaugurated as president just after midnight. Although Barbados gained its independence in 1966, it maintained the Queen as its head of state. Now, as a republic, it will, however, remain one of the 54 Commonwealth countries, just like South Africa. Anyway, Charles will give a speech highlighting the continued friendship between the two nations despite the change in its constitutional status, etc., etc. This will be the first time in nearly 30 years that the Queen will be removed as head of state. The last time was in 1992 when Mauritius proclaimed itself a republic. According to sources, the Queen will feel sadness and Prince Charles a twinge of regret. And I'm quoting what they actually mean by this twinge of regret. I don't know, but that is what's said as Barbados cuts ties with the monarchy. However, all is not roses, and what mainstream media is not really reporting on is that it is estimated that up to 100 anti-slavery protesters will confront the prince, demanding reparations from the royals and UK government for slavery. Okay, now I'm in a way indifferent to Barbados becoming a republic. I feel it's the people's choice, and they had a right to choose not to have the British sovereign as its head of state. Although I am not 100% poor due to my British and Scottish heritage, I also understand the dynamics in countries like Barbados and Jamaica, where the history of slavery is only now rising to the awareness of the population as education improves and access to the media and information improves. I'm not going to talk about the history of slavery at this point, as it would take another 2 to 10 videos to discuss and explain the workings of the slave trade, and the British were definitely not the only culprits, not by a long shot. However, in South Africa, there is still a very active awareness of the effects and after effects of the Anglo-Boer War. And although I was taught both sides of the coin as a modern person with access to research, I understand that anger as well and the ripple effect it had into the future. But what about the countries remaining in the British realm? Seeing that I'm visiting Canada, I went and had a look at Canadian polls, and it's not a pretty picture. In 2017, a poll found that 41% of Canadians wanted to abolish the monarchy following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, with 43 in favour of maintaining the monarchy. So in 2017, we still had the majority wanting to maintain the monarchy. In 2019, a poll found that 33% believed Canada should have an elected head of state, and 31% said they should remain a monarchy. So already there was a shift where the majority, by 2%, wanted an elected head of state. In February 2020, something happened, and 32% of Canadians would prefer an elected head of state, while 27% would rather keep the monarchy. And although there was a shift in numbers, it was still the majority of Canadians who wanted an elected head of state. However, this time round in 2020, 28% said they don't care either way, which is a fairly large amount. However, in February 2021, the picture looked completely different. 45% of Canadians now want Canada to have an elected head of state, while only 24% would rather keep the monarchy. And the ones who are now saying they do not care either way had dropped to only 19%. It has also been found that the majority of Canadians who do wish to keep the monarchy fall in the 65 and over age group. It is thus not an airy-fairy notion that other countries may soon follow Barbados in ditching the British monarch as head of state. And it also, just for those of you who are not listening properly, is not my opinion. These are figures, they are facts. It's not something I'm thumb sucking because I dislike the royals or anything you want to come at me with. It's not true. It is my humble opinion, however, that there will be no further referendums in this regard in countries like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand while the Queen is still alive, but that we shall see referendums on this being called within 5 years of the Queen's passing, and that, in most cases, the monarch will be dropped as head of state. And I'm talking about other countries, not Britain. Personally, I find this to be a normal progression, which abides with the times we are living in. But I also find it sad in a way. At the moment, I cannot find the correct words to describe my sadness at the thought of a shrinking monarchy. But suffice it to say, I do wish we could somehow preserve the Queen and keep her forever. I really, honestly, and truly hope and wish that Britain itself will find a way to reconcile and keep its monarchy. And that now brings me to my last video, for which I received a lot of backlash. The Princess and the Press Part 2 will also air tonight at 9 p.m. on BBC Two. Well, like I said, by the time I finish this, some of you may already have seen it. I don't know, I'm not sure. I am, however, told that Part 2 is worse than Part 1. I have a contact in the UK who has since become a friend and who every 3 to 6 months do get me a little inside info, gossip, or every now and then a straight out scoop. So I'm told that Part 2 had been passed on for preview by royal aides or to royal aides. I'm also told that when my opinion was discussed with someone, that my friend was told that they do not blame me for my opinion on Part 1, as for an outsider it would look more or less balanced and as if both sides were represented, but that just like I have now received a tiny tidbit of insider info, they, the aides and the royal family, had a rather large chunk of insider info and had known beforehand that Part 1 was the soft touch roping viewers in, and that Part 2, which deals with the period 2018 to 2021 in more detail, would be where the damage would be done. According to my friend, the information was correct, and Part 2 is or was very biased. Now, what I do not understand, though, is one, Why is the screening going ahead if the aides reviewed it and found it damaging or false? Secondly, why hasn't the palace issued a statement or rebuttal before the thing is tonight? Surely they have all the newspapers on their dialing list. Anyway, we'll never know whether perhaps pieces were edited out and replaced before tonight's screening. But, and here I am rejoicing just a little for being proven right after being lambasted last week. The royal family does have their lawyers on standby and viewing tonight's broadcast. It is said that although legal action is not ruled out at all, it is likely that the lawyers on behalf of the royal family will make a formal complaint to the broadcast regulator, Ofcom. Now, my dears, that is the way to do it. This I can and will support 100%. This is how you fight back in a mature way. And if Ofcom does not do what is right, then sue the BBC, starting with that Bashir interview which caused a chain of events leading to Diana's death. Hit them where it hurts the most, right in the pocket. Money is what makes the world go round these days. So put the brakes on the BBC's executives' world. Please understand, I'm a rebel, born and bred. I cannot stand being told what to say, think, or do. Within reason, of course. I do have manners, feelings, and am considerate of others, and therefore I shall always defend freedom of speech, unless it is defamatory or disgusting. Secondly, it is no secret here or elsewhere that I'm not a fan of Prince Charles, and unfortunately, I have 2 books, 200 articles, many copies of letters, minutes of meetings, etc., as reasons why I am not a fan of his and do not trust him much. But, as I have explained many times before, I am in favour of a constitutional monarchy in Britain, as I, even as someone born in Africa but of partial Scottish British heritage, still consider the monarchy as the protectors of our European culture. It is thus my honest and sincere opinion that if, some way, somehow, William could become king sooner rather than later, it would benefit and, in a way, save the monarchy. Come on, let's have a straight talk and let's face facts. William is more attractive than his father, he is more charming, he is well educated, has less scandal in his past, has a seemingly stable marriage, and appears to be less entitled and spoiled and better able to read the room than Charles. It is for this very reason that I fear for William. I understand that he is likely fed up by this time with all the vitriol coming from the media. But this is the time where he really has to try and set aside anger and emotion and step into the big boy arena where you do not fight with your fists but with your brain, where you need to outmaneuver your opponent instead of cutting him off. Remember that saying, keep your friends close but your enemies closer? I thus do not want to see William threatening the media by withholding work or events or whatever. No, I want him to outmaneuver them, take them to court, let them go out and make the money just before you step in and take it from them. Okay? He shouldn't allow a portion of the public to be able to accuse him of using his power. Let the public rather support him in a quest for fairness and justice. Okay, so today is also the beginning of the case against Ghislaine Maxwell. Most of today, Monday, was taken up with final jury selection, after one prospective juror was excused after admitting that his co-workers have passionate feelings about the case and expressed these feelings to him. 12 jurors and 6 alternates were chosen and opening statements will begin or has already begun. What I find very interesting about this case is that Virginia Roberts Giuffre won't be part of the case, as United States prosecutors chose not to bring charges in connection to her, and she is not expected to be called as a witness either. I've done a video on Virginia and the whole Andrew debacle, and more or less what I think of it. And you can go watch it on my other channel if you haven't yet. I'll post the link in the description box below. Anyway, I understand why prosecutors decided to exclude her testimony. Yes, by doing so, it will keep the most explosive allegations against Maxwell out of the trial, and we nosy people hoping for some dirt on some famous people may not get to hear that. But by leaving Virginia out of the Maxwell case, prosecutors are avoiding a big risk, as Virginia had gotten a lot of key details wrong in her story over the years, including saying that she was only 15 when Epstein began abusing her, which, as you and everybody else will know by now, was not true. And, as you know, when it comes to the age of consent, etc., those 2 years in her lie makes a huge legal difference. Anyway, prosecutors will focus on 4 other women who allege that they were recruited by Maxwell as teenagers. I will keep an eye on the case in the coming week. And now, to end this video, I see old Harry says that the term Megxit is misogynistic and or sexist. Hence, the BBC buckled and bowed and is now calling it Sussexit. Well, it is my opinion that Harry and the wife misread the dictionary and therefore I'll stick to Mexit. Thank you very much. Not because it makes any difference to me, but just because I get very irritated by a Harry telling me what to say, how to say it, etc. So buzz off, Henry. Mexit it is, and Mexit it will stay. Go and have a good day. Anyway, guys, we have a lot to talk about and little time to do it in, but for now, I'm going to love and leave you. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.